Hello and welcome to our podcast. If you run a business, however big or small, and sometimes wonder whether you're doing things the hard way or the right way, then you're in the right place. We're two business owners who choose to sit around the table, share mistakes, challenge each other, and keep learning. This is our journey to 1,000,000. Two ordinary blokes in business. So, hi John.
Good morning, Martin.
How you doing?
I'm all right, and the weather here for a change is raining.
The story of this year so far. Do you want to give a quick recap for our listener about
listener.
our trilogy and which episode this is?
I think we might have doubled our listening capacity, Martin. Yes, this is the third of our original ideas of past, present, and we're calling this planning for the future. And Martin, we've both gone into new experiences doing this. It's been good fun, and it's
Has it?
really well. I think it has, don't you? And we've learned a lot, and I certainly have pushed myself into a comfort zone. There's been some great comments and questions come in, and all the different networks that we've posted it on, or not posted it on, as some people would say. And I've also learnt that in my office, a new camera position is required. And why is that? Because I've realised that I'm balding more on top than I wanted to acknowledge. So,
I was more interested in your fire behind you. But there we go.
Well, that's now underneath my desk, hiding.
So,
that might be a bad move as well.
So this episode is all about the future of our businesses. So just to give people an idea of where we are at with our businesses, if I lead off or you were giving some stats, weren't you, John? Just before the podcast, you were giving me some stats about businesses in the UK. Can you remind me of those?
I was. Have you forgotten them already?
Yes.
As people know, I love a spreadsheet. And as people know from listening to our podcasts, we've done a lot of work over the last few years on our businesses. And one of the questions that I asked myself, or sort of researched a few years ago in doing that, and I refreshed it last weekend because I thought it'd be relevant, is actually there's 5.6 million businesses registered for VAT or PAYE in the UK. And it's actually really interesting because it's graded those then by turnover. So if you're in a turnover of £100,000 to £250,000, you're in the top 32% of those 5.6 million businesses. Well, that was me.
Well, can I just say that was us as well in 2020?
Yeah. And this podcast has been about, the past, the present, and the future. And we set out a few years ago where our future is going to be, and we're still on that course. And we're now in the £250,000 to £500,000 turnover, and so we're actually in the top 14% of businesses in the UK. Now that's amazing because when I shared that with my team and actually said, here we are, a little business, family business that operates around sort of Nottingham, but we're actually in the top 14% of our businesses. That should be something that we should be really, really proud of.
Absolutely. I was just going to say the same thing. I'm really the word I was going to use, proud, because I think for our team at Lawns One, we're pushing for the big one this year. So we're possibly going to be in the top 5%.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a journey.
Yeah. And then where we're going, so actually, Martin, the zone that you're in is you're in the top 9% already of the businesses. So that's an amazing stat. So if anybody's sort of looking at the numbers and where are they, that's that's where you are, comparing yourself not just to lawn care, but actually the 5.6 million businesses in the UK.
And I think that's quite inspiring as well, because I mean, we just before the podcast we mentioned Jim Hewlett from Lawn Tech. I was speaking to him about numbers, and he said it's hard to get to the 500,000. He said, but the second 500,000 is a lot easier, and he's definitely right. And I know that he inspired you as well, didn't he?
He did. I was at the conference and saw that presentation. It sort of twigged with me straight away, and it's felt really hard work in that getting to that 500k. I think we've been blown off course by droughts. We've been certainly blown off course. We've had to sort of pull it back by keeping the sort of hand on the tiller with staff and growing staff. But actually, I look back to what I was doing 3 years ago, and I was doing all the emails, I was doing all the scheduling, and life now is completely different. But it's
Yeah.
cost investment. And I
Yeah.
think we were asked a question about, taking on a member of staff, and you said it hits your P&L. Well, it does in a number of ways, but you know, I'm a lot less stressed than what I used to be. I
That
think.
can only that can
I
only be
think.
a good thing. That can only be a good thing, right? So, John, what does get into £1 million turnover mean to you? What does it? What does that mean to you and Greener Gardens? Why is it a milestone?
I think for me, it will. Um, I think for me, it's going to make all the difference between a business that is run by me as being the person that's in it every day to a business that's run by other people that I'm actually investing in and taking a reward from, rather than doing everything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And for me, it's what Jim was saying. Getting past that 500 is a complete game changer. And now I can make that visual to our staff about how it is, or our leadership team, which I've done this week, which was great, about how it really does become a game changer, not just words that come out of my mouth.
yeah.
So that's where we are. And I think for us, it might be sooner than we think. I do hope it's going to be sooner than I think. I said I'm glass half empty man. I'm going to make a glass half positive comment, and we
A
can go
glass
for that.
half positive comment.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
half full positive. Oh, you got me going, you bugger. Um, so for us, we've got loads of those foundations in place. We've got our road ahead mapped. We've got the systems in place. We've recruited to go. We made a hire yesterday, so that's brilliant. We're all really excited about that. We've got an exciting team, not just lawn techs, but sort of office staff. And as you say, Martin, they have got a glint in their eye, and that's amazing to sort of see that happening in your own business. And
Absolutely.
and all the things we talked about, really, we have identified the single points of failure. We're working on those to address them, and we're just tweaking, not changing and reinventing, but we're just tweaking um, the the roles of our team, and
Right.
it's brilliant. So I think that you know we've definitely got the goal in sight.
Yeah.
And what we do know, just through numbers in a spreadsheet, is that once you get to that 500k, the business does things consistently, and that's going to get us to the £1 million a lot quicker than what we've got to the 500k, I think.
Yeah, I think that will be your experience. It certainly is for me at the moment. I think uh, th- if I ask myself the same question, what does a million really mean to me? It's more of a milestone, because I think when you get it's all about your perspective. I think when you're running a £250,000 business, you know you're turning over a reasonable amount of money, and you're making okay money, but there's kind of more there. And then if you do get to the 500,000, you start to see what's possible. I talked about that in the last podcast about what you start to see what's possible, and then when you believe it, there's no stopping you. That's what the milestone is for me for a million. It's just part of the journey. When I get to a million, it's I'm going to set my goals higher, and I think it's not just a monetary thing. I can see the team, how they respond, how they take on responsibility, how they start to be a real part of a living thing, and that is enormously rewarding. So, yeah,
And I,
that's
I
me.
think what's great about your business is you've got a young team, haven't you? You've done things that I didn't do, which is you've got a lot of people under probably 25 that's sort of in quite senior roles in your business, which is, you know, a great. I am right in that answer, Martin. But I think that's a great thing, because for me, I built my business. We touched on it. My first employee was a part timer. I was running a lifestyle business, and having a part timer was great for me. But you went balls out for it, and you've invested in younger people, the future.
I've always been that kind of person. I've always been putting in, knowing that it's going to come, 4 or 5 years down the end of the road. And I think with you're right. We have got some young guys, and actually they've got the enthusiasm and tenacity and want to learn, and they're really good. Assets for our business, and we get lots of really good reviews about them, which is fantastic because they're on the journey as well. And like I say to them, if they might not be with us forever, but if they leave Lawns One better people than they came, then I'm a happy man.
Just a curveball. Have you ever calculated the amount of time an employee stays with you and whether that's a longer time is good or bad?
No.
That was a curveball, wasn't it? You didn't see that one coming.
Next question. No, but I think a stable team does help your business. I mean, I know that we started to gain traction when my son James came into the business. I know that he gave us a stability that we hadn't previously had. And then when we took on Harry, who we had to change our vehicle insurance for because he was under 21, he's now our senior tech sort of 5 years later. And he again gave us that stability, and they're the foundations on which we've grown Lawns One. So it's really a lot of it is all down to them.
So in my world, I know, I'm almost certain, in fact, I do know that Jack Chapman from Kingsbury has worked out how long the staff stay, and I've done the same for different reasons.
Right.
And actually, for, it was interesting talking to Jack because I think rather like I looked at my customer lifestyle, he actually looked at his staff lifestyle, longevity, sorry. And it was a really interesting angle that actually, if they're going to stay with you for 4 or 5 years, that's probably, a great amount of time. And you get a lot of return on your investment for those people. It's when you make a bad hire and they only last a few sort of months is when it becomes a drain. So I thought that was a really interesting angle to come at it from. So well
I think
done for Jack for teaching me that one.
I think is a good point, well made. I think the rate of which you grow, and if you have similar aspirations to us and are going for a million, then that will be dictated by the quality and nature of your team.
Brilliant. Well, I did throw you a curveball. So what was you going to ask me something, Martin? I'm not sure.
What does your business look like running, turning over £1 million? How do you see it, John?
Thought I'd answered that one, but what do I hadn't answered that one. Okay, that's an interesting one because I think that's 2 steps more to where I am. But I think whether we're in my next stage of getting to the 500 or actually getting to the million, I hope the answers are still the same in terms of what my customers will see, which will be a leading local and independent lawn care company. I would love them still to be feeling happy to leave us those great reviews like they're currently doing, and we reply to those in the lovely way that Mel does, because I think that's really, really important. And they're going to do that by following the standard operating procedures which we've put in place and learnt and tweaked. And I hope that we're still going to be enjoying the same levels of personal service. And we've used technology to help us do our recruitment of our latest sort of technician, and it's been brilliant. Dave, who's never actually been involved in the hiring process other than have the ride along on the day, has actually sort of worked through that whole process, and he says it's been brilliant. Let's just keep that because we just seem to have identified different skills in people which we've never done before. So hopefully we're still embracing that technology, and we've got more to come on that. So watch this space. Basically, I'll keep your powder dry on that one.
Right. Okay. So I think because you're not asking me any questions, John, I'll ask myself the same question. What does our £1 million business? I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and some of you might have noticed I've been a bit more active on socials recently, and I think Lawns One has been a little bit faceless for a while, so I'm not I wear loud shirts, but I'm not always looking for the limelight. But I'm making myself uncomfortable and pushing myself out there to become a bit more of a face of the business and try and raise the profile of the business that way. And then hopefully my successors in the business will do the same thing as they come through. So the business doesn't stop at 1 million. That isn't the end of the journey. That's just the next step, like I alluded to earlier. So we'll be looking at what other services we can offer, what area we cover, where we can find expansion, new customers, where we can double down, but always remaining family friendly, quality business.
And what are those challenges then, Martin, that you've identified? I mean, we met a few weeks ago and we was looking at your AirPro system, which was brilliant. I think that's a massive investment that you've made there. That's paying off for you. What else have you got that in your marketing sort of plans, in your ideas plan that you're happy to share? Have you?
All that I'm happy to share. No, actually, I'm we're working on a loyalty scheme at the moment. We talked about lifetime value, and much as you get, your 10th free coffee after you've had 9 in Costa, we're looking at doing something like that to pay back customers that have been loyal to us and stick with us. And what we're hoping is that will give us extra years lifetime. How that works is the difficult bit. The mechanism and what's on offer to customers for that is tricky. And you're still fighting facts like the weather and the climate and those sorts of things. But I think that's one thing that we'd like to do is and that's one thing's a challenge, is keeping customers longer. In terms of services and things like that, I think the basic service offering will remain the same. I think the treatments are changing. I think we're probably going to increase the number of treatments, as other companies have done. So I think there's quite a lot going on, and we have a turfing side to our business, or what we call a small works side, which is turfing, AirPro, seeding, large seeding jobs, that sort of thing. And there's been massive growth in that in the last few years as well. So we'll be channeling through there.
Brilliant. And so going back to our podcast and where we started, that you said to me, we always have these chats, Draper. Let's do it as a podcast. I do remember us talking one day about your loyalty scheme, and you were asking me, I think you was having one of your questions as to whether you do it. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? And I think I commented that we'd done it years ago, and my thought was about maintaining sort of loyalty, but ours was free.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about two things stick in my mind from that conversation. One was ours was free, and did it really do the job it wanted to do? And the answer from me was no. And I think what I've also learned, which we then asked you a question, are you going to charge for it? And you said you were. And I think that is the difference. And I think my other memorable statement that I made is, well, it's about daring to be different. And actually, by doing that, loyalty club, then that's different. And years
Well,
ago,
if I can stop you there, John, the discussions I've had with you have led me to go to cover both bases. So we are going to have a free for everybody loyalty card, and we are going to have a premium loyalty card.
right,
And the premium loyalty card will have discounts and referral offers and other service offers that are paid for, but represent very good value. But we will have a free one for all our customers, where the benefits will be lesser, but still hopefully elongate their stay with us.
brilliant.
So thanks to you, we've actually dared to be different and not.
Well, that's brilliant. Okay, so where are we going now then, Martin? we're sort of
Where do you want to go, John? So we've talked about what it means to us achieving 1 million, what kind of challenges we might face along the way. There's the bit that always is lovely when you network is, and I think I've spoken about this previously, but it's that you're not alone in business. When you chat in your networking bits, when we talk together, we face the same problems. Maybe they rear their head in a different way, but a lot of it's the same. So it's the personal bit in business. So how do you see yourself growing, John? What's what if you could ask your future self a question, what would it be?
right. Okay. Well, you asked me a question about my future self the last time, and I wasn't sure. I think I got it wrong. I was politely sort of told I'd got it wrong. It was about me.
Well, here's your chance to
I told
redeem
you
yourself.
I'm not very good at. I'm not very good at this. I think my future self has been me, Greener Gardens, because I have been the face of Greener Gardens for such a long time. There's two parts to this answer. One is, I think my bold statement's going to be is that we know where we're going, and it's not just me; it's the team. Um, I think the Greener Gardens sort of, where does Greener Gardens want to be? It's enjoying the benefits of the team, but I think my future self being me personal, and that's where we end up doing the best bit of our sort of weekly chat is we do get very personal. It's and delve into our own sort of mindset, because mindset is everything. Continue not to be afraid to give it a go. I've had a go at doing a podcast. Blimey, I never thought I'd be doing that sort of 3 months ago.
Similarly, LinkedIn,
Yeah,
podcast, Facebook,
yeah.
I'm not massively comfortable in those areas. So yeah, I
And
get you.
and I think what's been great about past, present, and planning is that it's made me think about my business, what it was 20 years ago, 3 years ago, and actually, I think my staging gates would be it started to grow the most when I stopped doing my sort of consultancy type work and concentrated on it full time. And I think it's going to grow. Well, it's going to grow to 1 million. Um, you know,
Good attitude.
thank you, Martin. I'll take that. It's going to grow to that 1 million. You see, it's the glass half full again. It's working. Um, it is, now I've got a sort of developing a leadership team. And then, you have to think about yourselves. You do get blown off course by the weather and by different things, that happen. So mistakes happen. Don't get, dust yourself down and spin again, have another go. I think that's a big thing of reflection that's come from this. And I think my future self, I think in a few years' time, I'll be saying, don't be afraid to get involved with a specialist mentor, because they're brilliant. They might cost you some money, but they're going to make you a lot of money. So um, I I think if I was interviewing myself in 2 or 3 years' time, then those are hopefully the sort of words of wisdom that uh, I'd like to be thinking on giving to people. And I think my final one is, if like me 20 years ago, you were thinking, I'll set up a business and actually that becomes my pension, think really hard about that. Because there's, you know, if you've just got a list that's saleable, then you've just got a list. But actually, if you've got a business that's in that sort of, £1 million sort of turnover with a structure, you've got a business that's worth hopefully a lot more money, or that frees you up the time to do more stuff without actually doing too much in it yourself.
That's another good point, actually, John. Are you still growing the business with and viewing a possible exit, or because I want to grow the business and I do want that to be my pension, so I want to be able to draw money out of it while it's running without me. That's my kind of goal. And then if any of my kids want to get involved in it, then great. If they don't, then I might look to exit as a sale. But what are your thoughts?
Well, Hazel's categorically told me that she's not interested. She's seen,
Right.
you know,
What, in
well,
you or the business?
probably both, really. And I totally get that, because she's seen all the all the highs and the lows of doing that. We made our high yesterday, and Dave, who's been with me for a long time, 13 years, I think he's been with me, and he's now taking a big step in our business, but he's changed over the last few years. He's gone on a journey as well, like we have, and he's saying, I'd love my own business, but I've seen what you've gone through. So,
It takes a toll, doesn't it?
it's really, really tough. So I think for me, I've realized I've worked far too hard just to have a list. So for me, I think I'm keeping my options open, on that one. And actually, the world's a funny old place at the moment, isn't it? You and I are the ones going to bed worrying about cash flow. You and I are the ones going to bed worrying about the PAYE bill. You and I are probably the ones having the conversations with technicians saying, "Do you know what, I can earn more on Benefit Street, than doing this." Those are those are big problems in our mindsets that we have. The place is a funny old place at the moment. So for me, I think I'm waffling, but I'm answering your question, Martin, by saying I'm keeping my options open, really. But
Right. Okay.
I'm enjoying it, but I think I'm structuring something that has an awful lot more value, by having a leadership team, because if somebody did want to buy it and they took me and Kate out of it and all the expenses that we incur in the business, then that's a really transferable sort of business. And
Absolutely.
that was reassuring to hear the lady Annette Ferguson from Profit First talk about, is that you have to pay yourself a decent wage.
Yeah.
And you're not paying yourself a decent wage, that is less attractive for the person buying it or an investor. So I
Yeah.
think we're in a position that, if we're playing in the top 10% of businesses, we've got to be doing it right.
And let's face it, we've all had poor wages being a business owner. Do you know, I remember one time, it must have been in the mid around 2015, something like that. And our accountant sat Heather and I round our dining room table, and said, "Well done, you've made 12 grand profit. You might as well go and get jobs at the garden centre." And that was a bit of a kick in the kahunas. But what it did is put fire in Heather and I's belly. And 10 years later, we're making a bit more than 12 grand. So it's possible. It's possible.
You've broken through the 15, have you now, Martin?
I'm nearly at 20, John.
Nearly 20. And how many customers you got now?
Oh dear, don't. Oh, the customers. We haven't got as many as most, but we've got quite high value customers. So I think that's why I mentioned before about apples and pears and stuff. And when you compare with businesses, and it's all very well knowing how many customers another business has, but unless they're of the same value, then it's difficult to compare, because you're going to be in different realms, basically.
Yeah. And
anyway, that was a bit of a sidetrack.
That's a great place to bring us back to where this podcast sort of started, really, which was over lunch in London, and I think we were both consuming a rather fine bottle of wine. So,
yeah,
just for the listener, having had a rather fine lunch, I sent Martin a text on the evening saying, "Yeah, right, then we'll you've warmed me up, we'll give it a go, but we must do it over a bottle of wine." So, although it may not seem that we've been dry all this time, we have been dry. But I did actually send Martin a little sort of delivery this week, so that one of the evenings we can sit there and we can open our bottle of wine and taste it to the wonderful 20 years that we've been probably networking and having a Wednesday chat. So,
This is very self-indulgent, John.
well, I just want to deliver on my promises,
Well,
Martin.
we have, and I think it's been. I mean, this experience has been scary and exciting, and I hope our listener knows that.
Last time, Martin, yeah, sorry, the last time we had a book recommendation. So have you
we
got
did.
another one?
Oh, top of my head. Well, it's a life book recommendation rather than business, but it's The Art of Happiness. And it's written by a psychologist who interviewed the Dalai Lama. And it was a book I read when I was in my late teens, early 20s, and it set me up for life. It's fantastic.
To get that then. And mine would be, I think what helped me on my journey, another book that's helped me on my journey is Traction by Gino Wickman, talking about people, seats, the tea station destroyers and the builders. So that'll be my book. If you're on a journey like mine of trying to sort of scale your business through that 500k mark, that'll be one of mine. And do we have any listener questions, Martin?
We don't at the moment, but that's a good point. If this is to continue, then even if it's subjects you want us to discuss, I mean, we have a number of subjects. If I can just grab on my phone, podcast ideas, it'd be interesting to see what people think about. I've got let's talk pricing, renovation or treatment. How many customers have you got? 0 to 1 million. Leads, maintaining quality. What about reviews, customer complaints, staff, scaling your lawn care business? What's the answer to your success? Who can help you? Why mindset is everything? Efficiencies, price versus cost. A number of others, but if anyone wants us to discuss, I mean, I think you could probably do a whole podcast on price and why that's so critical. Be very keen to get some feedback and let us know what you think. And also, it's not just lawn care business, because I think this is the journey itself is it's all about you as an individual, isn't it? It's not it's how you change and develop over time to create something and be the person that is turning over £1 million business.
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Carr. I don't know if you see any of his excerpts on any social medias, but he says it's not about the destination. It's not even about the journey. It's about the person you become on the journey. And I really love that. Really love that.
Yeah. And on the questions, I do remember another famous conversation that we had in my mind, a milestone in my mind. And you said to me, John, I've listened to you waffling on for so long about putting your price up. And you have spent more time justifying to that one customer why you're going to put their price up by £1 than they will ever think about in cancelling you.
Yeah.
And that was, I've got to thank you for that, because that was a long, long time ago. I don't know if you remember that conversation.
No,
but
not at all.
You don't remember many.
You were probably waffling.
I was probably waffling. But it made a big mark with me. And since then, we do put our prices up each year. And the comments we get from customers now is, they've gone up a little bit, but nobody's really complaining. And I think it was a massive leap of faith for me to sort of go, I'm going to do that. And actually the reward of putting them up over the 100, 200,000, whatever customers you've got, you've got to keep doing it, because everything does keep going up. So
this is crazy. This leads back to why I say never treat your business like you're the customer. You should never put yourself in that place, because you would never, because if you don't like price increases, then you're going to be scared about putting prices up. But listen to Rory Sutherland on the socials. He's a real he's in advertising and psychology, and he's fantastic in terms of doing strange things. He cites a story about Red Bull and Coke. He's like, if you're going to challenge Coke in the industry, then you would think that you've got to give great value, have a nice big can of whatever. It's got to be price competitive, and it's got to appeal. Well, Red Bull made a disgusting drink. They did it in a smaller can, but they managed to market that and compete with Coke and outcompete Coke. Who would have thought that? So you've got to not think in your business like you think outside your business, is my point.
Unable to drink Red Bull. I got extremely drunk on that one night in a nightclub.
There's no alcohol in it, John. You know that.
No, it was what was mixed with both.
Right. And I think also on the price thing, there's another thing that I learned. Anyone who knows me knows I love my sayings and my little excerpts
You're going a bit
from people.
quiet, Martin.
Sorry, anyone who knows me knows my my love of quotes and bits and pieces. And there was actually an American firm, a guy who said, he did some analysis on putting prices up, and he said the top 200 that cancelled because he was too expensive were replaced by a bottom 200 that thought he was excellent value for money. Same price.
Well, I remember another little. It's the story half hour, isn't it? On our journey of the franchise acquisition, I met a gentleman and we went to see him, and we were seeing if he wanted to invest in the business and helping us along that way. And he said, "I was a window cleaner." And he says, and I've finished all my round and somebody asked me to do an extra job. He says, and I've got the time. So I said, yeah, I'll do it. But he doubled the price he would normally charge. And the guy just paid it.
Yeah.
And then he said to himself, well, the next job I get, I'll try the same tactics again. So he went on double the price and the customers just paid it. And he says, so over the next 6 months, I lost all my old customers and I picked up a new round of more profitable ones. Yeah. He went on to buy, I think it was APC or something like a distribution sort of company. But that's where he started. And I think that sticks in your mind as well. Is there'll be some people that will pay it, and there'll be others that won't, and never assume.
Absolutely, and that's probably ties us up for today, John.
It does, and I would like to I would like to compliment you, Martin, on making me challenge myself, because I don't know how long, when we start doing COVID, when was COVID and we all got a webcam, I think I look a lot better at this angle. I seem to have grown quite a bit of hair, and I'm not looking down because I'm sort of, that's what it, so thank you. I've learned something today about presentation skills.
Every day's a school day. So thanks ever so much, John. And if anyone's got any questions and want us to continue, then I'm sure we'd be absolutely delighted. This is our journey to 1 million, two ordinary blokes in business. Goodbye.
Goodbye.